Well, hello there, and good evening. Thank you for joining me. I'm Frost PDP, and today we are playing Hearts of Iron 4, America the Awesome. Now, let me just do a quick check on what episode number this is. Oh, this is episode number 12. I'm further in this series than I thought, but I've been asked to create sort of a tutorial. This is kind of not the place for that, but I'm going to try to do as good a job as I can to at least explain the basics in case I didn't cover that in the series. Mainly because I've been learning them myself. The biggest questions that I get are relating to production and factories. So let's just kind of cover these three tabs here because these are important and they are hidden, and if you don't know what to look for, you're in trouble. So this is my constructions page. This is where you build buildings and see ongoing constructions. And as you can see, I'm using 84. That means I have available 145. That's a lot. I should be doing something with these. I will. But consumer goods means that with our economic policy, and that's something you can change through changing your government focus, which I'll look at later, people expect 15% of our total number of factories to produce consumer goods. This needs filled with civilian factories only. In other words, you have to have a minimum number of civilian factories. And that leaves us with 182, where 97 can be used for trade. So there's also a limit on how many you can use for traded goods. You can trade away the use of your civilian factories to other countries. This kind of simulates exports, like I'm producing exports and consumer goods for the United Kingdom and the Soviet Union. And in return, I'm getting a bunch of stuff. I'm getting steel, chromium, and rubber. Okay, rubber is something I can actually reduce my foreign need for by building synthetic refineries. Although I'm also doing something else to alleviate this. So I'm building a civilian factory in Zulia, which I believe is in Venezuela, which I occupy. And people will often ask, well, what do you build? Do you build military factories so you can build more weapons, or do you build civilian factories so you can build more other things? Well, at first blush, you would think military factory, because military factory is basically what dominates this tab. Here's the resources you have. Here's your production efficiency stuff. It's like, how vulnerable are you to bombing? Well, I have dispersed industry, so not as vulnerable as you'd think. But there's probably trade-offs to that, or else it's not balanced. I'm not sure why that's not higher. So dockyards are sort of like military factories, if they can only exist in the coast, and you have to build them specifically separate from military factories. And military factories produce stuff like infantry equipment. Now, you have to make sure you upgrade your infantry equipment. I have level 2. And as you can see, I need a lot of them. But when you start off, you have infantry equipment level 1 usually, and you will just produce level 1 until you tell it to produce level 2. Same with artillery, same with total anti-air, same with motorized. Anything you build, if it's got a level 2, you have to make sure to tell it to be level 2, or else it won't build. I think that's a design flaw that needs to be fixed in this game. So if I was making a suggestions video, this would be one of them. But I'm not experienced enough to make a suggestions video right now. I still barely know how to win a war against Venezuela as the United States, which should not be a challenge. Sorry guys, sorry if you live in Venezuela and you don't like to hear that, but especially during the World War II period, like, no. If the United States wanted to invade Venezuela, it well could have and would have won. Like, I'm not saying that's a good thing, I'm saying that's a fact. And we know that because it invaded much stronger countries and won, although different alliances and such. But, I mean, we won against Japan, we would have beaten Venezuela. And since that's a scenario in this game created by, I know I'm working on the Manhattan Project right now, but it's created by, all the way over here, you know, preemptive intervention. Venezuela was like the only fascist power in the West. So I have 3 civilian factories. I'm going to build, let's see, I'm going to build 2 civilian factories, and that puts 15 to use. But as you can see, I still have a lot more room to build a lot of things at once. That's why I like having a lot of civilian factories, because then you're not limited to like, oh, I can only build infrastructure. I can only rebuild this. I can only do that. No, I could build multiple factories in multiple places at the same time now. I can build synthetic refineries and secure my resources. And only now am I starting to approach my peak peak, so I can even build radar stations in land I occupy. Now, wouldn't that be nice? A radar station to know if there's enemy aircraft around? Should probably build one here just for the sake of national security. And see, I'm starting to build them in my little territory controlled in the Pacific. So that's a good thing. And you can level that up. Anti-air defense. I've already made sure Pearl Harbor isn't going to happen the way Pearl Harbor did, because I destroyed the Japanese fleet. So I'm not too worried. But I would like my furthermost bases to be a little more anti-aircraft secured. In fact, I'd also, and I'm starting to run out, you can see when it says you only got 10 factories working on it, like I want to even make sure I have coastal fort. Because they've tried at least to invade some of my land. Okay, so that's done. But I want to go back to the more tutorial end of this. Alright, so this list here tells you what you're producing and how much. And it says 2.61 per day versus 1 per day versus 1 per month versus per year. So they do the math in this game very well, which I like because that's sort of a good thing. I need 46,000 infantry equipment 2s. Now that doesn't mean my guys don't have weapons. It just means I need more. My daily balance is not a lot, but I'm gonna be upgrading that with all these military factories I just built. Air wings with no mission. Airplanes. I am, for the life of me, inept with airplanes. So I have tactical bombers standing by. I don't want them doing anything. The fighters, right click to assign air wings. So that should have assigned you, right? No, it didn't. Oh yeah, I guess it's the tactical bombers that aren't assigned. And I just want them to do close air support. Fuck it. That way if there's ever a battle here, we have some air support. Let me go to the, shortcut F1, default map mode. So these guys are friendly to us. We actually led the revolt against them. But I can't even invite them to the faction, and they're trying to build nuclear weapons. So they like me 10. Plus 10, same ideology. That's less encouraging than I'd like. But whatever, they generated world tensions. They can eat it. Actually, like, there's a penalty for doing stuff. Convoys. These are important if you ever want to do a naval invasion. Well, let me talk about recruitment for a minute. I have a tank division, an infantry division, a motorized division, and a marines building at all times. So I'm always producing troops. If you want to add another line, let's say you want to add more men, more tanks, right? You click this unit, this button here, and it will add a new production line of units. So this is different than like, oh, I click a province. Like, let's say I click New York, right? I click New York and I want to train troops, and I would click. There would be a button here. I click train troops in New York, and I keep clicking it. You can hear me click, 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 click. All right, that's not how. Why is there a hole here? Whatever. That's weird. It's not as if you train the troops wherever you click the button. You go to your production and you tell them where you want them to deploy, and it will just build it. And they only deploy unless you specifically tell them to once they're fully trained. Now, you can order any unit that's up to 20% trained to deploy immediately. So let's say you have an emergency. Let's say right now Japan invaded my west coast. These two are close enough to ready. This guy's close enough to ready. These guys are all almost ready enough that I can just pop them out, and they're ready to fight for me, and that's great. But I don't really need to. Why has Mexico got such a big front line with me? They love me. They love me 100. We're trade partners. We're guaranteeing them. Whatever. Canada's got some troops in my territory. I think that's Canada. I'm not even sure anymore. One division. It doesn't even show you who owns it. Oh, there it is, Canada. Okay. So Canada's helping me out. That's pretty cool. So if you need to train troops, you need to go and you need to click this button here, train. It sets up a whole production line. Garrison Brigade, I don't know what that red stuff means. I guess that means they come out quick versus like highly trained. My naval battle results are probably all, hey, you sunk a Japanese boat. My subs, yeah. And if it's got the star, you won. And the Japanese Navy is just crushed by mine, so that's a plus. I'm happy for that. Sorry, it's true. I have no idea how to stop them from invading the freaking Raj right now. That's a problem. But, well, my end goal is I just want to launch a naval invasion of Japan. Just straight up, go for it. For one, unlike in the real world, they never even took half of the islands that we had to fight for. They never really made an attempt at it. I mean, Marcus Island, Iwo Jima. I could go for a naval invasion of Iwo Jima, I guess. It's worth 5 victory points, but I don't feel like that's productive. If I can straight up naval invade this and I have naval superiority, why wouldn't I? And, by the way, I have Attu Island, for Christ's sake. So that's a thing. I didn't even know I had that. Have I even trained you guys? No, they're still bumming. Join Eisenhower for now. Just so you get training. Actually, no. Yes, Eisenhower, Homeland Security. I've designated this army Homeland Security. Their job is to defend the homeland. They're defensive troops only. They stay behind and they make sure I don't get countered. Because that's the thing. With Japan's entire army in Asia, I can probably take their capital real easy. I could be wrong, but the British Raj is losing, which I don't want. That's a lot of resources I don't want Japan to have. And the Siamese Empire, by the way, is fascist and Axis, so that's a problem. What else is there? Logistics. This tells you how bad you don't have resources. I have production deficits. I need more military factories to build more things, and to do that I'm going to need to train things. So you guys have no missions. Right now, I'm going to hold off on that, simply because I could probably do something useful. Now, the good news, if the map view would be right, is that France controls Paris still. I don't know exactly how that happened. Maybe they were just liberated. Belgium still exists very barely. It's not going well, but it looks like somebody, it looks like Norway of all people, has managed a naval invasion into France and has basically Normandied it. So, then again, Italy's very strong in this game. And meanwhile, Yugoslavia is fighting for its survival against probably insurmountable odds. Thank God Greece has a decent army. The Soviets have stayed neutral, which is a huge problem for us. They have expeditionary forces. They're in the Comintern faction with Red Finland and a couple others. And they have a puppet state of Red Finland. But they are not at war with us. Now, I could justify a war with them, but that would do me no good. That would just make things worse. I've got to manage to defend my people, and taking out the only fascist power is nice, but now I got to do some other stuff. And that's why I'm preparing this naval invasion of Japan, to get them out of this war, because they're the biggest threat to the British right now. Sorry, Germany. It's the truth in this game. So, I have time set to run very fast. Let's let some time run. And I'll show you basically how this works. So, constructions are building, right? I'm building some civilian factories. I'm building some military ones. As I let time run, this little bar should start filling up. You know, the factory's 1%. Next complete the 20th of April. So that's a while. But you could see things building as time goes on. Now, I'm missing equipment production. Apparently, I'm not producing a list of stuff. I'm not sure why. To be honest, once you get into the airplane game, I start getting lost. I'm pretty good at telling units on the ground what to do. But, like, I'm building carrier fighters. I don't see why it says I don't have carrier. I mean, like, I guess I do, but, you know, like, this is a fighter. Why is it not saying that I'm building heavy fighters? I'm upgrading stuff I already have. So, I don't quite get it. But then again, I don't feel like the research tab is that well defined for this. Just to show you. Air. Okay, well, tactical bomber, I get that I need new, like, everything, right? But what's carrier capable? I guess that means enables Northrop BT. Dauntless, SBD2 Dauntless. I guess that carrier thing means you make it carrier capable. But that is not explained anywhere, and I have a friend who asked me to do this who was like, I got 47 seconds into this tutorial and my head exploded. So the tutorial for the game obviously isn't doing the job, at least not for my friends, but then again, maybe we're crazy. So naval combat in the South China Sea. It's 3-6, right? That looks bad. But if I really brought out my navy from Manila, which may be repairing, I'm not sure. It's still repairing, it's been damaged. Can I see how much it needs to repair? Strength 40, 83%. Naval base can repair, so repairs won't be done until October. Sorry, guys. For this, you need to get out. You need to fight. I know you're damaged, but you need to save these dudes. Or at least get revenge. See how we've got 86 boats, and why are we running? Yeah, what's the deal? How did that happen? That was like a defeat. Huh? Fire at will, baby. Naval supremacy 72%. Ah, shit. Il Duce was hardly flown in to participate in the victory parade on the ships. So Italy actually took over France. God damn it. Large ships on low strength. I have one boat that's like damaged. Go down there and put an end to this crap, would you please? Just keep them there. I guess they ran, huh? Alright, let's go back to base for now. We lost... Oh no, we raided 5. They sound like our boats. I can't even click on this and get what country that is. That's weird, and probably not ideal. Naval battle. Our planes are just taking out any boats that come nearby. We're at least scaring them off. Unless those are... No, those aren't costs. Convoys. We took one convoy down. But I don't know what country that is. Alright. So you can see how my productions are finishing up. And then once I finish with all of this stuff, I'll start on the coastal forts that I asked for in the Pacific. And it goes in order of what you asked for. So that matters. You can always rearrange your queue, but we can still only have a certain maximum number of factories working on something. We destroyed 5 enemy convoys. Hooray. I have 20 divisions sitting here. Theoretically. These 20 divisions might be useful someplace else. But I just don't think 20 is enough to do any significant damage, and I have no intel on the enemy's status on what to do. So unless I think 20 divisions will make the difference here, it might. Okay, unify that command. 12 infantry, 4 tanks. What would I want to do with them? In a perfect world, what could I do with them? Okay. I think I understand how this works well enough. You guys get there. I wish they would all know to just travel as a group. But, oh, Manhattan Project. Details. Development of substitute materials and instant signing USACE project, eventually known as Manhattan Project. One of the most secretive and dangerous undertakings in military history. Its goal is to create the first atomic bomb. Liberty ships. Sure. Why not? Now if I understand correctly, I can rebase my men to here. Yes, I can. In fact, theoretically, I could rebase them straight to France, but... Well, I just gave them an order that they are not going to change their minds on, so... MacArthur! You are going to... I have 15 ships here. I have cruisers and subs. Nice. So again, let me go to this production tab real fast. Let me filter out. So you gotta be good at filtering. Stockpiling convoys. They're not deployable. But I build 1 a week. So that makes sure I keep my convoy number up. I want you to deploy to California. Okay, so that does that. Sorry, coughing is not pleasant. So it turns out you can click this and then click that and it'll deploy to the proper naval base. That's cool. That's actually really important. I didn't know you could do that. So Make sure all my boats are deploying to the same base in California. Although I don't need nearly as many submarines, I think. And I'd like a line to produce destroyers, at least one. Now I have to figure out which one's better, Clemson or this. So they both take the same amount of stuff. They both got different numbers. I guess this one's a little better. Wish there was a best-in-class option. They both take the same amount. Sub-detection is a little better, and that's what you use that for. 10 months. I don't think I need as many light cruisers either. I think that's good. So 4 destroyers a year, and that'll get better. And also deploy that. So now I'm basically building a new fleet, which is kind of important. As far as defense goes, though, I want to do a temporary thing. So let's say you do like a short-term training ambition, right? You tell them to train, you set the location, I can't train them there. So I'm going to have them train in Florida. And they're going to be... Increase the serial training of division that each line will complete. Setting to infinite means it will keep training. So all of these are set to infinite so they never stop building. I'm going to make this 3 divisions, all to train at the same time, but only do it once. And what should happen is once these guys are trained, I don't even have to train them all the way, they'll be finished and I can deploy them down to here where they'll have a chance to react. Meanwhile, I've got a bunch of guys going to Yorktown. I'm trusting that the British have naval superiority. That may be a mistake. I mean, I have my fleet patrolling as well, but my western fleet, I should say. Yeah, we keep encountering the same thing. Launch a few torpedoes, and then I run away. And nothing dies. And that's just whatever. You know what? It may be beneficial not to flat out invade Japan, but to take this. Although it might liberate the Netherlands, meaning I can't do very much with it. $30 belong with General Blood and Guts. I don't care. Like, I know. By now I know. I know exactly what it's going to be. It's not going to matter. Advanced computing machine means research time 5%. And construction. I'm going to start atomic research. And, so these are all 1%. So even if I was to research this one, it would still only give me 1% advantage. So that's a thing. It's good to know. I need better planes. I can get the Dauntless almost instantly. Close air can... Well, okay. So, alright. Now I can see a little better. I can click this and in 24 days I can have the Dauntless Basic. And then I can upgrade it so that it's planeable. Alright. Good to know. I love the music. I do love the music. 20 units here are not going to do shit, I think. Then I'm going to be in time. I had 20 men trying to hold off. Like they... Calais. Dunkirk. Oh god, it's Dunkirk. Oh god, no. The UK fleet is doing fine, but it's not enough. It's 97 divisions. I am grossly unprepared for this war. I have free military factories, however, so that's nice. So again, to round out this episode with a little talk about production, I need a lot of guns. Time to produce a lot more guns. Each factory is only going to produce a few more per day to start with, but they do improve in efficiency. So I have 2 factories, I'm going to tell it to add 2 factories, and now I start building more. Got a lot of problems. Tactical bomber effort. I got a lot of problems. Resistance to occupation. High levels of resistance in a Miranda. That's less than ideal. They're motorized. So I'm gonna split half of you. You 2 go here. You 2. Go to a port real fast. I'm just doing this before I forget. So I'm probably releasing this episode ahead of time. I might even release all of them at once. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with this series. But this ought to demonstrate, like, number 1, I'm not that good at this game. And number 2, I'm not really sure how the best way to win this war is, to be honest. Yugoslavia's capitulated. Prince Paul has announced he can't take the pressure anymore and he's going home. Or rather, he's running away from home. The good news is I can ferry over as many units as I can train. The bad news is I don't know that I can take... I don't know. If I try to reinforce to Dunkirk and we lose Dunkirk, we got problems. Because only so many soldiers can be involved in fighting at a time, right? Have no access to anywhere. No friendly ports whatsoever. What if I order a naval invasion from here to Bordeaux? It's 20 units. That's not nearly enough. That's just not enough. What if... Alright. This is definitely the best place to bottleneck them. I'm not going to argue with that. You're going to naval invade somewhere a little closer to the battlefield. You're going to cut off their reinforcements at Ardennes. Because the British fleet's got superiority. And what's going to end up happening is that we're going to encircle this and just crush them. If at all possible. As long as we can hold out a little longer. I mean, it's going in our direction, but not well. The numbers are all in our favor. We've got, I know they've got much stronger looking men, but as long as we can hold this pass just a little while. And with the Navy there, the British Navy, I don't see why we can't. I don't see why there's not more guys on the front line, but still. Just 20 divisions back here. Just cuts their supply off. And then starts pressing them from both sides, and maybe they can't hold out. That's my hope anyway. How's Ireland doing? Have they gone fascist? I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I can modify my government. That's a good thing. Material designer. Motorization cost down. Total need 11. That's better. Balance. See, that's good stuff. That's what I want to see. So, thank you for joining me in what is like a half tutorial, half episodic episode. I really don't know what I'm going to do with the series, but it's interesting. So thank you for joining me, and as always, La Paz.